opened her eyes. A huge hammer was beating hard in her head. It felt like the hammer was about to smash her brain to bits. It was dizzying. She didn't recognize the ceiling of the room. She was lying in a spacious bed, covered with a soft blanket, alone and completely naked. Memories came with difficulty. The corporate party, the alcohol, the dancing, and Gabriel. Gabriel, the young manager who had taken on the role of her beau in her husband's absence. The last memory added to the headache, the husband. She remembered how all evening Gabriel had literally never left her side. Wooing, serving appetizers, pouring wine, being a partner in all the dances, cracking jokes, complimenting her. The last glass of champagne was overkill. Then a cab, a hot hug and kiss from Gabriel, and her desire. The desire to go on. Oh shit, thought Viola. What have I done? What am I going to tell Kevin at home? I mean, they're waiting for me there with Diana. Viola stood up, but the hammer in her head began to beat harder. Her clothes were hung neatly on the back of the chair. Her underwear was there. Gabriel entered the bedroom, holding a tray on which stood 2 flutes of wine, 3 red caviar sandwiches, a vase of chocolates, and a small vase of red roses. Viola instinctively covered herself. You don't have to be shy. I've seen it all. And more, Gabriel said. Besides, it's a sin to hide such beauty. He smiled. Sit down. I'll treat you. Where am I? Asked Viola. That's a stupid question, Gabriel replied. Especially since yesterday you asked to come to me. I couldn't, I wanted to. The memory came back. She had indeed asked Gabriel. And to her horror, she remembered that she had. And not just that. She remembered how, after closing the apartment door behind them, they had torn each other's clothes off. How, caressing each other, they had entered the bedroom and fallen on the bed. How she had cried out, surrendering herself to Gabriel's strong arms, that this was the best thing she had had in the last 12 years of married life. Next, the memories rolled on in disjointed snippets. Bed, sex, shower, champagne, failure. Viola covered her face with her hands. Give me something to put on myself. I'm not going to sit in front of you naked, she demanded of Gabriel. I have a terry robe. Will that do? I don't care, as long as you don't see me like this. Viola thought of her husband and daughter. How could I? She thought. 12 years with my husband, and I've never looked at anyone, and here it is. What will happen now, and what will I do now? Gabriel returned with the robe. Here, take it, please. He handed the robe to the woman. Don't get upset. Everything will be fine. You'll figure something out. What will I think of? Said Viola, putting on the robe. It's never happened to me. You hear? Never. What will I tell my husband? What am I going to tell my daughter? I promised that I would be home before midnight. Sweetheart, Gabriel didn't get a chance to finish. I'm not your sunshine. Viola cut him off. Really? Gabriel got angry. And yesterday, you said you loved me. Where's my purse? Viola opened her purse, looked through it all. Where's my cell phone? How would I know? Gabriel was surprised. You followed me around like a glued man yesterday. So, I do not look in other people's bags, especially in women's bags. Jesus, that's the last thing I need. Viola cried. Gabriel took the bags from the trays. He handed one to Viola. Here, sweetheart, drink and calm down, and then we'll decide together what to do. I'm not your sunshine. Stop calling me that. I love my husband, and only he can call me that. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll try. Gabriel moved to the bed next to Viola. Hey, why don't we call Eva? You seem to get along with her, but your husband doesn't know her. She's new. Give her the situation without details. She's an understanding girl. Are you suggesting I lie to my husband or something? I cheated on him, you know. I betrayed him. Stabbed him where he belongs. Viola took the glass. Damn, I can't look at alcohol. And you're making me drink. The woman wrinkled her nose and downed the flute. First of all, everything that happened to you and me happened by accident. You could say, unaccountably. You know, a spark ran, passion flared up, and that was it. Now that the passion has subsided, we have to figure out how to get you out of this situation. I'll tell my husband everything. Viola's staring at one point. I can't lie to him. Are you crazy? He'll kill you. No, he loves me. He hasn't even raised his voice to me once since we've known each other. Then I don't know how to help you. Gabriel stood up and paced back and forth. I've told you my option, and I don't have any others. Borgia, stop flickering in front of your eyes, asked Viola. Sit down. You're probably right. If I tell my husband the truth, it'll be the end of everything. And I don't want to lose my husband and my daughter. Viola, don't worry about it. Gabriel put his arm around her. Who doesn't? A little fling on the side has never hurt anyone, and in your case, 1 in 12 years. You need some variety. Okay. Cell phone rings. I don't have a cell phone, so you're gonna have to make the call. Now get out of the room. I'm gonna get dressed, and I'm gonna go get cleaned up. I hope you have a big mirror. Maybe we could do it again before we go. Gabriel looked at Viola seriously and expectantly. Yesterday you said you loved me, and today you're keeping your distance. You're out of your mind. Forget it. Never again. Whatever you say, sweetheart. Gabriel left the room with a sad face. Viola was met at home only by her daughter. Mommy, where have you been? Hugging her mom, asked her daughter. Your phone is broken, or what? Why didn't you call? Daddy was up all night. He called your friends, coworkers, and called your grandmother. She'll be here soon. Where's Daddy now? Viola asked. He went to some coworker of yours to look for you. Someone told him that you left with another man. Is it true, Mom? Honey, that man just gave us a ride to another friend and coworker of mine where I stayed. Tears came out of Viola's eyes. Give me your phone number. I'll call my dad. I left mine somewhere. Diana quickly ran to her room and brought the phone. Mommy, why are you crying? Diana asked sympathetically. It's okay. You're home and Daddy will be happy when he comes back and sees you. Viola dialed her husband. Hello, Kevin, my love. I'm home. I'm sorry that I didn't come home, and I lost my phone somewhere. Okay, honey, I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna make dinner. Yes, I know Mom's coming. Diana already told me. Good, I'm looking forward to it. The fact that her husband called her by her full name in the phone conversation was a sign that her husband was hurt or very angry. Whenever they had any friction or arguments in the family, he always called her by her full name. Usually he called her by her short name. Viola changed her clothes, took a shower, and went to the kitchen. Her mind was a complete mess. Thoughts filled her head, and she didn't know which one to hold on to. Eva had taken it in stride when Viola had called her from Gabriel and asked her to help her with a delicate matter. Anyway, so a friend. She spoke in a cold tone after listening to her colleague's request. This is the first and last time. I'll cover for you, of course, but no more. Don't drag me into your dirty games. I never thought you, Viola, were capable of such a thing. Eva continued. How are you going to face your husband now? I don't understand you. What do you care about my husband? Viola said with a hint of anger. He's mine. I love him. Gabriel. And I had nothing. That's for you to tell your husband. And yesterday, you could see how much you loved him. Eva remembered with horror how, dancing with Gabriel near the bars in the semi-darkness, he had whispered all sorts of tender nonsense and compliments to her, kissed her toes, and in the dance held her obviously not behind her back, and she had kissed him on the forehead and whispered something back. It was kind of dark, and no one could see. Some were at the table drinking, others were dancing. No one seemed to be paying attention to them. Turns out they weren't. Come on, Eva. It meant nothing to me, said Viola. Eva laughed. It's okay that you went to Gabriel's for the night, said Eva, and changed to a serious tone. Let's finish this useless talk, shall we? I'm sick of listening to these fairy tales. I'm a big girl. We agreed, and that's it. Let's close the topic and end the conversation. It was said in such a way that Viola realized she would now owe Eva, and now she was on the hook. You know, your husband is very nice, said Eva instead of saying goodbye, and hung up. Viola was angry. I never thought that Eva was such a bastard. She had only seen my husband once, and she already had her eye on him. Viola thought, how am I going to show up at work now? I guess I'll have to find someone else. Viola's mom arrived. Daughter, what's wrong? Where did you disappear to? Kevin cut off my phone, calling and asking if you'd come or if you'd called. Irene looked at her daughter and stroked her cheek. Thank God you're all right. Where's Kevin? Mom, he'll be here now. Come to the kitchen. We'll have tea. Viola tried to change the conversation. How are you feeling? Mom, how's your health? I'm alive and thank God, but my joints start to ache before the weather. So I put some ointment on them, and they're fine. How's your neighbor, Lucy? I thought you two were friends. I think she's fine. She's away with the kids. Thank you, Eva. Thank you very much. I was worried. She's gone and disappeared. No cell phone, no idea where to look. Good thing your colleague Gabriel said you had her. I came straight from him to you. Forgive me for invading your privacy by barging in so unceremoniously. Kevin felt awkward standing in front of this pretty, fragile woman. That's okay, Kevin, said Eva, smiling. Would you like anything? Tea, coffee, or something stronger? Eva offered. Oh no, thank you. I'm driving, but I could use a stronger coffee. As she saw Kevin off, Eva handed him a piece of paper. This is my phone number, in case you lose your wife again. Call me anytime, don't be shy. She smiled. I don't really like visitors, but you're welcome. Kevin took the phone, kissed Eva's hand like a gentleman, and thanked her and left. Viola was having a hard time. She sat down tiredly on the kitchen sofa. Now she was tormented by only one thought. What will Eva say to her husband? And struggle as if not to say something unnecessary. The guy is still young, will say without thinking what is not necessary. How can I go with my husband to her company for the holidays? Still have to change jobs. Irene interrupted her daughter's unhappy thoughts. Well, since you're home, I think I'll go home. I've got a plumber coming tonight. The bathtub faucet is leaking. Mom, why didn't you ask Kevin? He would have done it, but the plumber has to be paid. It's okay, daughter. Why should I bother your husband about such little things? He's got enough to worry about. He's already at work from morning till night. What's the point of taking a man away from his everyday life? The main thing I want is for you to be well. I'm gonna go. Walk me out. When Kevin returned home, his mother-in-law had already left. Viola met her husband with a guilty face. She hugged her husband, kissed him, and pressed her cheek against his shoulder. Viola, why didn't you go home right away? It's closer to your work than to Eva, Kevin asked his wife. Moreover, you knew perfectly well that I was waiting for you at home. Where's your cell phone? Why didn't you call me from Eva? You know my phone number by heart. Stroke your wife's hair, Kevin continued. I called everyone you know. I kept your mom awake. I called all the hospitals. Good thing one of your coworkers told me to call Gabriel. He said he saw you leaving with him in a cab. The three of us left. Viola interrupted her husband. It just so happened that we gave Eva's address first, and the cab driver took us there. Moreover, I was drunk, and I don't remember very well. Viola lowered her eyes. Viola, would you call? Or ask Eva to call me? It's not that hard. You know very well that I am always very worried and concerned about you. Viola noticed that her husband changed his resentful tone to a condescending one. I told you I was very drunk. I'm sorry. Viola felt hurt and tears came to her eyes. She was offended, not at herself, but at her husband. You could have come with me, she thought. Diana would have been taken to her mother. No, He decided to show once again what a good father he was. We could have gone together, and none of this would have happened. How come? Eva told me you two were still talking when you arrived and drinking wine. The husband looked Viola in the eye. And what was the conversation about? What an asshole. Viola thought. Why the hell would she tell Kevin something that wasn't true? That wasn't part of the deal. I told her what to say. We got here and went straight to bed. Since when did you become interested in women's talk? Smiling forcefully and wiping her tears, Viola asked. You've never been interested in women's gossip. I wasn't interested this time either. That's why I'm asking you. The husband was embarrassed. It's nothing. So the bones of colleagues washed over, talked about clothes, about salary, and much more about what? All I do not remember. I didn't even want to talk. It was all Eva. She's a big talker. While saying that, Viola was thinking of something else. How to end this conversation. And then the husband, without realizing it, gave his wife a trump card. You know, Viola, I wouldn't say that. When we had coffee, she was practically silent. She only asked me where I work and what I do. Viola immediately took the initiative. She made a suspicious face and went on the attack. Oh, so you two had coffee together? We did. Why? Kevin was surprised. Didn't you offer anything stronger? Continuing her attack, Viola asked. We did. The husband said, dumbfounded. But I only had coffee. I had been driving all night. I was just tired. I wanted to cheer up. Already justifying himself, said the husband. I made lunch here, waiting for you, and he is there drinking coffee with our new employee. Come on, let's go to lunch, because everything is already cold. Resentment towards her husband, resentment towards Eva, were boiling inside Viola. And then they saw their daughter looking at them with wide eyes. Mom, Dad, are you swearing? Asked Diana. No, sweetie, we are not swearing. Viola squatted down beside her daughter. What makes you think that? Then why were you talking so loudly to Daddy? Diana looked at her mother perplexed. Was she? I didn't notice. Go wash your hands. We'll eat now. They ate in silence. Only Diana broke the silence. Daddy, you promised to take me to the zoo and tell me all about the seals and sea lions. Sure, we'll go, honey. If you promised, we'll go. Next weekend, we'll all go together. Viola calmed down. She was happy. There was no more questioning, resentment, and perplexity on the part of her husband. Wanting to diffuse the situation completely, Viola decided to have passionate sex for her husband after the evening shower. When she crawled under the blanket, it turned out that he was already sound asleep. Coming to work on Monday morning, Viola did not notice any slanted glances in her direction and mysterious whispers. Apparently, it's not as bad as Eva made it out to be, she thought. At lunchtime, she approached her friend. Let's go to lunch, asked Viola. We can go, although to be honest, I'm not hungry, answered Eva. They cozied up at a table in the corner of the cafe and ordered food. Listen, Eva, why did you say some unnecessary things to my husband? You embarrassed me. Sorry, dear, I had to improvise when your husband asked questions that were not part of our agreement. Eva said lazily. I don't understand how you could leave a man like that alone. I would never leave such a man alone, even after 100 years of living together. With a note of subtlety, asked her friend, how's your daughter? Actually, it's not me who left him, but he didn't come with me. He decided to meet his daughter and score points in the parent-child relationship. Eva, please don't go away from the main topic of conversation. Viola spoke sternly. Why did you invite him to your place for coffee? Honey, it's a common gesture of courtesy and hospitality. What did you want me to do? Slam the door in his face and tell him you were here? Eva got a little angry. My husband doesn't need your hospitality. Viola was getting angry too. Really? Did you see his face at that moment? Eva continued. There was fear and hope on his face. Fear for you and hope that you were okay. I wish I was that worried about me. My husband is a very practical, decent, and understanding man. He understood me perfectly, and he has no more questions for me. Viola raised her tone. If you want someone like that, look elsewhere. Are you jealous? Eva's eyes widened, and she laughed. You're so full of it, Viola. Through her laughter, her friend continued. What do you even understand? I love Zhenya, and I'm not going to give him to anyone. Viola looked angrily at Eva. Okay, then sell it. Eva calmed down. Or trade. Let's make a barter deal. I'll give you Gabriel. You give me your husband. Are you stupid? Said Viola. Borka, and I had nothing. Don't tell me fairy tales, my dear. You know me and Borka recently, but I know this guy enough. We worked together in the same firm, but not for long. I've been in his bed too, and half the women in the firm have been in his bed. But I'm a free woman. Eva finished snidely. The boy, though young, is a skillful lover. Eva smiled. I don't care about Gabriel. I'm married. I won't go near him, and I won't let him near me. And let's leave it at that, said Viola. Never, never say never, replied Eva. The waiter brought the order to the girls. The affair continued. Although Viola scolded herself in the shower with the last words and even tried to stop seeing Gabriel, nothing worked. Every time she came home from Gabriel's, she told herself that it was the last time. She even turned Gabriel down a few times, telling her that it was over. That family was more important to her than one-time pleasures, but it was only enough for a week. At work, she and Gabriel agreed that other than a working relationship, no other relationship was to be shown. 11 months passed. Viola seemed to think everything was normal. No one knew anything. No one guessed anything. Everything was under control. Even Eva, who earlier would not miss a moment to tease Viola, kept silent. Viola explained her delays to her husband by being very busy at work. She and Gabriel had managed to go on vacation a couple of times. Kevin said he was going on a business trip. It was Diana's birthday. When the guests had dispersed, Kevin helped his wife clear the table, put his daughter to bed, and returned to the kitchen to help Viola wash the dishes. Viola, said Kevin, I think we need to have a serious talk. Honey. About what? Viola asked with a smile. About us, of course. Kevin's face was very serious. I want to ask you how long this is going to last. Should I wait? Wait for what, honey? Viola continued to smile. Please, Viola, don't call me sweetheart. I don't like that word. You have never called me sweetheart, only for the last 6 months. Her husband's face was tense. I want to know when your affair on the side will end. And will it ever end? I've waited and waited too long. But there's a limit to all patience. Only my love for you and my daughter keeps me from being foolish and scandalized. I can leave if you need me to. Viola sat on the kitchen sofa and looked at her husband with all eyes. Her husband's long tirade had left her completely confused, but she managed to pull herself together. What affair, dear? What are you imagining? Sweet Viola, call your lover, and I hate that word. Kevin got angry. Do you think I'm blind, stupid, insensitive, or whatever you think I am? Kevin, what are you? What are you talking about now? I don't understand. Viola tried to act completely bewildered. Explain what affair, who you're having an affair with. What's gotten into you today? Tonight? No, Viola, not today. Kevin calmed down. 10 months ago, maybe even earlier. Just the obvious signs I noticed 10 months ago. And what did you notice? Love. Viola leaned back on the couch and put her foot on the leg. She continued to feign innocence and complete incomprehension of the conversation. Tell me, what did you notice? An emptiness formed inside Viola. She was concentrating who had snitched on them. Where had they blown the whistle? How did Kevin know? I'll stand my ground until the end. Viola decided to herself. Okay, Viola. Kevin rubbed his tense forehead. Let's start with the fact that we sleep like roommates. We haven't had proper sex in, like, 7 months. You're tired, you're not feeling well. And sometimes you're deliberately late with cooking or cleaning. I know, waiting for me to fall asleep. If I do wait for you, you're cold as ice. You've even stopped kissing me before bed." My husband paced back and forth in the kitchen, the tension still on his face. "We don't go anywhere together. Think of the last time we went out as a family. You don't remember. It was 11 months ago. Right after you didn't come back from the corporate retreat. We went to the zoo. 3 times I asked you to go to a restaurant, and you said no. I don't count how many times we went to coffee shops, movies, just for a walk. Sometimes I think sometimes you're even squeamish about me, especially in bed. During intercourse, you wrinkle your nose. Kevin, listen, but I already explained to you that at work." She couldn't finish, her husband interrupted her. "Double the workload. I remember. And if you be nice and kind, please don't interrupt me." Viola was angry with her husband. Wow, he memorized and remembered everything. And he didn't want to talk to me all this time. If he saw everything and knew, why didn't he stop me? I guess he doesn't care about me. He's at work from morning till night, and I'm sitting here like an idiot waiting. He's an angel. Viola thought. "Well, I'll tell you now. You accuse me. You don't know what you're accusing me of. And the last time you gave me flowers?" Angrily asked Viola. "Flowers, you say? You don't remember?" "Oh yes, you came late that day. You were late at work." Husband did not smile cheerfully. "And you didn't even notice. They'd been in a vase on the windowsill for almost a week. I guess it's funny, but sadly, I never stopped giving them to you. You just stopped noticing them. It just so happened that when I came by with a bouquet, you weren't home. A couple or 3 times, I left them in the hall, on the table. But even there, you managed not to see them." Kevin was hurt. He loved his wife, wanted to give her a chance. He thought if Viola apologized, he'd forgive her. Maybe they'd even leave to start over. But the wife wouldn't confess, she kept denying it. The husband wanted to tell about a new men's shirt, obviously a gift for someone, not his size. About the new underwear Viola had so much that it took up half of the dresser. About all the trinkets, gold chains and rings he didn't buy his wife. About the fact that his wife had 2 more corporate parties at work, but she went alone without calling him, although he knew that the management of the company always invited the wives and husbands of employees, and a lot of other things. I realized that there would be no conversation. "I'm going to bed. I have to get up early tomorrow," said Kevin. "Good night." I heard him say good night. He turned around and smirked. "Wow, did you remember that we said good night to each other?" And he moved toward the hall. "I'll sleep on the couch in the hall tonight. I don't want you to be embarrassed by my presence," he said as he walked. "And no need to protest, please." Viola stayed alone in the kitchen. In the morning, when she arrived at work, Viola took a moment when Eva was alone and came over, hissing angrily and accusingly. "Are you trying to play the virtuous one?" Viola angrily threw the words in her colleague's face. "Who asked you to tell Kevin everything? Do you need it more than anyone else? Or maybe you've decided to get your hands on my husband. I told you to look elsewhere." Eva's mouth dropped open in surprise and her eyes widened. But when she realized it, she changed her surprise to a grin. "Aha, so you got caught, lovebirds," Eva said with a slight smile. "Well, it's only natural. I only asked you to help. Just one time. And you decided to ruin my family. What kind of a bastard are you, Eva? Don't you dare go near my husband." Viola squinted her eyes menacingly. Eva laughed outright. "You're a fool, Viola. The whole firm knows about your relationship with Gabriel. And about Kevin. If I wanted to steal him away, I would have found a way to do it." Eva got serious. "Before you accuse me of something, you need to get to the bottom of it. You're running around with your Gabriel like a piece of paper. No matter how much you hide your relationship, you're not very good at it. Yesterday, he slapped you on the soft spot on the way out of the smoking room. You think I was the only one who saw that? 2 hours later, everyone knew the news. So you didn't say anything to Kevin? Viola asked in surprise and disbelief. I don't care about your relationship. Do whatever you want. I'll tell you one thing, friend. You can't sit on 2 chairs. I don't meddle in other people's business and families. Viola decided to put an end to her relationship with Gabriel. She called Gabriel into the smoking room and told him, Borja, my husband knows everything and I can't see you anymore. At work, too, everyone knows. From now on, it's over between us. Eva had just returned from work when her phone rang. An unknown number was calling. She picked it up. Hello, Eva. A dry, masculine voice answered the phone. Hello. A woman answered. This is Chief Inspector Neil, Senior Lieutenant Neil. May I ask who Kevin is to you? Actually, he's not. He's the husband of a colleague of mine at work. What happened? Eva was worried. There was an accident in which he was injured and is now in intensive care. According to the doctor's conclusion, he became ill right behind the wheel, his heart. Unfortunately, we could not reach his wife. Her phone is unavailable. So we went through the alphabetical order of his phone, and we're calling you. Here's the emergency room phone number. Please give it to his wife. Can you do that? Yes, of course I will. Thank you. Goodbye. Goodbye. The inspector said goodbye. Eva dialed Viola. The phone was unavailable. What an idiot. Eva thought. Her husband is dying there, and she's flirting with her lover. Even though Viola had decided to end her relationship with Gabriel, she decided to have one last goodbye sex. This is the last time. She thought. No more testing her husband's patience. Get out of the shower, she said. That's it, Gabriel. We're not going to have anything more. Why not? Gabriel was surprised. I told you that my husband knows everything, and not only him. And my daughter has long been looking at me suspiciously. She is already 12, and it seems that she guesses something. Viola threw a wet towel at Borja. My husband, a very good and kind man. He is calm and reliable. So that's it. I'll leave you and change jobs. Sweetheart, if this is the last time, maybe you'll stay the night. Gabriel said with feigned resentment. I'll never see you again. Stay, please. Gabriel got up from the bed and approached Viola. Don't go, stay. Gabriel pulled the woman to him. I've fallen in love with you. Viola felt like an electric shock. You fell in love with me. She looked the man in the eye. But you're 8 years younger than me. And for me, age is not an obstacle, Gabriel declared. The young man was lying. He was just comfortable with this woman. She didn't ask for anything. Reliable sex. What more does a man need? Inexpensive gifts for her. That was practically all the expense. That's why Gabriel didn't want to let her go. Do you really love me? Viola kept looking Gabriel in the eye. Why do you doubt it, sunshine? How can I prove it to you? With resentment in his voice, the man spoke. He knew that Viola would never leave her husband and daughter. All right, I'll stay. After Viola's third call, when Eva's phone buzzed that the caller was unavailable or out of range, she was angry with herself. Jesus, there's a man dying out there. Maybe he needs help, medicine, or just someone to help him. And I'm just sitting here wasting my time. It took Eva 3 tries to get through to the emergency room. After writing down everything she needed, she pulled herself together and rushed to the door. Her husband's phone was unavailable. Viola wanted to lie to him that she had an unexpected work emergency and would have to stay at work until morning. He must be offended, she thought. She dialed her daughter. There was no answer. I think Kevin will forgive me. He said he was ready to forgive me. I'll come home from work tomorrow and tell him I want to change jobs because of his stupid suspicions. I've decided to myself. Viola. Borenka, pour us some champagne. Playfully asked the woman. Now my sunshine, it will be done right away. Gabriel replied. He must really love her. Viola thought and crawled under the blanket. Gabriel was young, but he knew how to make a fool of himself. His manners, behavior, and actions always allowed him to make a woman feel at ease. Plus the skill of dressing, conversation, and courtship, naturally. And the natural attraction of the man played not the least role. Hence the many romances in such a short period of his life. After drinking champagne, Viola and Gabriel dissolved into each other, forgetting everything and everyone. Eva ran into a boutique. She chose a tracksuit in the neighboring store, bought pajamas, and soft men's house slippers. At the drugstore, I bought adult diapers, needed medications that the doctors had asked for. Then I ran to the grocery store and bought apples, oranges, and tangerines. By any means necessary, she managed to get to the emergency room. The doctors were just loading Kevin onto a gurney to transfer him to a general ward. The injuries were serious, but not life-threatening. A fractured right leg, a mild concussion, and a microinfarction, which caused Kevin to lose control of the car for a couple of seconds, which were enough to get into an accident. Kevin had already regained consciousness, but was very weak and spoke very quietly. When Eva saw him, she cried. She crouched down beside the bed. "Where is Viola?" barely audibly asked Kevin. Eva stifled a groan. She must have known where she was. But what to say to a man in the state Kevin was in? I'd have to lie. Eva thought. Injuries, plus his heart. You can't worry a man right now. No way. She thought. Kevin, she's working overtime. You see, the chief left 3 people at the last minute. Viola, Gabriel, and Lucy, the head accountant. You know her. Remember, she's the biggest woman in the firm. You can't mistake her for anyone else. Eva had tears in her eyes. Large tears fell from her eyelashes and fell on her lap. "Why are you crying?" asked Kevin. "You're not lying to me, Eva." "No, I'm not. Of course I'm not. I'm crying because I'm glad you're alive." "Eva, please go to my house. Diana is alone there. Make sure she's okay. Feed her, help her with her homework. Stay with her until Viola gets back. The keys to the apartment are in my nightstand." Kevin closed his eyes. "Okay, Kevin, don't worry. I'll take care of it," said Eva and got up from the chair. "Get well soon. If you need anything, call me anytime. I'll be there." She gave him a sad smile and walked towards the exit. Eva waited for Diana. She came. It was 9 o'clock in the evening. "Hello, Diana." Eva said hello. "I'm here at your dad's request. My name is Eva. I work with your mom." "Is mom at work again?" Diana asked. "I don't think so. Come on, I'll make you something for dinner and we'll talk. I think you're a grown-up girl and you should understand everything properly." Sitting at the table, Eva didn't know where to start. "Diana, don't be frightened. Anyway, my dad's in the hospital and I was at his place. He's the one who gave me the keys to your apartment." Eva was nervous. "He's having a little health problem, but it's no big deal. We can go to his place tomorrow as soon as you're free after school. Are you daddy's mistress or something?" Diana asked unexpectedly. Eva was embarrassed. "What makes you think that?" "You're pretty, and I think Dad would like you very much." Diana spoke without innuendo. "I can see that Mom and Dad's relationship has deteriorated. Mom's been working late a lot, and Dad's always worried about her. So I thought Dad had another woman." "No, Diana, I'm not your daddy's mistress. Although I can't hide the fact that I like him very much." Eva blushed. "I see." Diana sighed. "Mom's not here again. What's she doing at work?" Eva blushed again. "That's what I wanted to talk to you about." Eva looked into the girl's eyes. "You see, in the life of adults there are times when they lose themselves and are deceived by wishful thinking. And they make stupid and unforgivable mistakes. That's the mistake your mom made." "So what? Are you saying one of your parents made that mistake or something?" "Yes, Diana. I hate to say it, but that's the mistake your mom made." Eva was confused, not knowing how to explain to Diana more gently and tactfully about Viola. Your mom, Eva stammered. She met a man. I mean, she didn't. They worked together. And now they're together. But not at work, at that man's house. Diana pressed her lips together. Tears ran down her cheeks. I understand, Eva. You don't need to tell me anymore. Diana went to her room and came back with her phone. I went to a friend's house and left my phone at home, charging. I'll call my mom. Diana dialed her mother's phone and put it on speaker. The subscriber was unavailable or out of range. I'm sorry, Diana. Eva took the girl's hand. Don't be upset, please, she said, seeing that Diana was about to cry. Did you do your homework? Because Daddy asked me to help you if you have any questions about your homework. Eva tried to change the conversation to another topic. I'm all done. I don't need any help, thank you. You can stay with me until Mom gets here. I'm very lonely. And don't tell Mom that Dad's in the hospital. I don't think she needs to know. I'll talk to Dad tomorrow morning before school. Which hospital is Daddy in? Of course I'll stay. Eva smiled. Good, I won't say anything to Mom. And Dad is in such a hospital. Eva gave the number of the hospital and the room. God, thought Eva. The girl lacks attention. Viola has completely forgotten about her daughter, and the father just doesn't have time. Then I want to go to bed early, said Diana. Will you stay with me until I fall asleep? Of course, darling. Go to bed. And I'll lie down with you, can't I? Lie down. The bed's big. There's plenty of room. Good night, Diana. Good night, she said. When she arrived at work, Viola dialed her husband. Good morning. I'm sorry I didn't come home last night. I had to prepare some documents for the technical department. I didn't realize it would take all night. I'm so tired, and I have all day to deal with this paperwork. Hello. No, it's okay, Kevin said. I understand perfectly well. Work if you have to. Viola didn't even notice that Kevin had called her a pussycat for the first time, that her husband was as calm as ever, and for the first time in 3 months showed no emotion at her words about being away from home. How is Diana? Viola asked in a concerned tone. Everything is fine. She went to school. At that moment, Viola's gaze met Eva's contemptuous look. I'll come early today. I'm so tired. Viola gave a fake sigh. Bye. Bye. I'll see you tonight. Viola disconnected. Why are you looking at me like that? Viola asked Eva angrily. I look at you the way I want to look at you. Eva was angry. You don't tell me who to look at or how to look at me. And please don't talk to me at all anymore. I'm disgusted with you. Ouch. Viola made a face. How right and sensitive we are. Eva didn't answer. She went to the principal's office. Eva took an afternoon off from work and went straight to the hospital to see Kevin. On the way, she bought some fruit, kefir, and healthy buns. When she got to the room, Diana was sitting next to Janny. Hi. Eva nodded to the girl. Hi. Diana said. How are we doing? Eva turned to Kevin. Can I sit here? Sure, sit down. Diana answered for her father. Eva handed the bag of goodies to Diana. Thank you, Eva. It's a pleasure to have you here. Eva blushed. It's my pleasure, she said. How are you feeling? Pretty good. Kevin smiled, thinking of getting out of the hospital early. Will you help me? Kevin looked at Diana and Eva. Viola was at home alone. Her daughter was gone. Attempts to call her had been fruitless. Her husband's cell phone was silent. What on earth is going on? She thought. No husband, no daughter. Maybe they're together somewhere. She called Eva. Look, I don't know what's going on. I've been home for 2 hours, and my husband and daughter aren't here, and they're not answering their phones. Do you have any idea what's going on? I do, Eva answered. I know that you destroyed everything with your own hands. You destroyed your family. You lost your daughter and your husband. Your relationship with Gabriel is no secret to Diana and Kevin. You thought you were the smartest. No, You're the stupidest. Kevin has known for a long time. He just loves you and your daughter very much. He called work a few times when you were working overtime. And then he just called the chief. The chief was surprised and told your husband there was no emergency at work, and your husband is in the hospital. He was in a car accident when he was driving and his heart started to fail. Kevin asked me not to tell you anything. Don't worry about Diana. She's with me. What's she doing here? Viola literally went ballistic. You're meddling in someone else's family. I told you a long time ago, if you want a good husband, look elsewhere. You're thinking about your husband. Eva asked me snidely. You know, I envy you. Black envy. Who would love me the way Kevin loves you? What more do you need in life? You have everything. A loving husband, a daughter, an apartment, a job. I told you too, you can't sit on 2 chairs. That's enough. Viola interrupted a coworker. Let me talk to my daughter immediately. Hello, Mom. Without intonation in her voice, Diana said hello. Come home immediately. I don't want you to stay with that woman, Viola said angrily. No, Mom, I don't want to go home. I want to be here with Eva. Then I will come myself, with the police, and take you home by force. Come on, Mom. I can tell them that I ran away from home because you're not home all the time. And when you are, you hit me periodically. And then I'll get the kids at school to corroborate my words. Viola was astonished at how her daughter could talk to her like that. Eva must have taught her. Daughter, put Eva on the phone. Making a whiny voice, Viola asked. You bitch. Viola started as soon as Eva picked up the phone. You've already turned your daughter against me. How dare you meddle in our family? She yelled into the phone. I'm not giving you anyone. Do you hear me? No one. This is my family, and I'm not gonna let you destroy it. You already said that. Eva grinned. And I'll say it again. You ruined it all by trading your love, peace, and well-being for Boria. And you fucked him too. Viola shouted angrily. Yes, and I regret it very much. But I'm a free man, and I didn't have to be faithful to anyone. That's the difference between you and me. If I'd known Boria was a womanizer, I wouldn't have even looked at him. I'm going to the hospital now, to my husband, interrupted Viola Eva. And after the hospital, I'll come and pick up my daughter. Viola hung up. Viola managed to persuade the doctor on duty to let her see her husband. Once inside the room, she walked over to the bed where her husband was lying on, looking out the window. Kevin, hello my good man, how are you feeling? Tears involuntarily came to Viola's eyes. The husband turned his head. Why did you come? Asked Kevin. What do you want? What do you mean why? Viola was stunned. I came to check on you, or you're not my husband. Yes, I am, Kevin replied. But only for now. And you're my wife, but only for now. What are you saying, my love? Viola said through her tears. What do you mean for now? For now, it means for a while. In a week I'll be discharged, and I'll file for divorce. What are you talking about, my love? What divorce? Why? Sobbing, Viola asked. Don't ask silly questions. You know everything yourself. I'm tired of waiting. Your time was up when I told you about the last chance. Apparently, relationships on the side are more important to you than me and Diana. Viola cried. She felt sorry for herself. She felt sorry for the uncertainty that awaited her in the future if her husband really divorced her. You what? What relationship? I have no one but you. Stop lying, Viola. I know it's all that bitch Eva. She talked me into it. She planned the whole thing to break up our family and marry you off. She even turned my daughter against me. Viola, don't be silly, said Kevin. I know all about your relationship with Gabriel. I loved you and waited for you, hoping that you would come to your senses and realize everything. Only you didn't want to think. Darling, it's not true. There is no Gabriel. I mean, there is, but he's just a coworker, a colleague. What could I have with him? He's younger than me, almost a decade younger. Viola was still trying to justify herself and get out of the situation, if not victorious, at least not accused. I don't see the point in continuing our pointless conversation. Kevin made a gesture with his hand, letting Viola realize that the conversation was over. Viola took a leave of absence at work and spent the rest of the week in the ward near her husband's bed. Kevin pretended that no one was around him. His behavior changed only when his daughter appeared in the room. Father and daughter tried not to speak in Viola's presence. Several times the mother tried to talk to her daughter, but always ran into a wall of alienation. "Dad, Eva wants to come and see you," Diana whispered in her father's ear, "but she doesn't want to go out with Mom." Viola was still angry with her daughter and her husband, even though she knew that the blame was hers alone. Irene had visited Kevin a couple of times. She was aware of her daughter's adventures. Her granddaughter had told her everything. Although Irene tried to be soft and smiled at her son-in-law, it was still obvious that she was very tense. With her daughter, she tried not to talk. And if they did, they talked about distracted topics. About the weather, about the neighbor's health, about Kevin's health. Viola's cell phone rang in her purse, and when she saw the number, blushing, she immediately dropped the call. A few seconds later, the call was repeated, and Viola dropped it again. Kevin, seeing with what haste and nervousness his wife does it, only smiled sadly. "What? Borgia is worried?" asked the husband after the second call in a row. "No," from an unknown number called. It was Viola. "Probably some kind of advertising or credit offers. I don't have any Borgia. You've been lied to about me. I see what kind of loans. My husband said so. So I'm lying to myself. You should at least have the decency to turn off your cell phone when you come to the hospital. Everyone around you is a liar and a bad person. You're the only one who's good and bad." The week passed quickly. Kevin was discharged. As he promised his wife, he immediately filed for divorce. During the week, Viola apparently realized that she was losing her daughter, a man who loved her truly, stability, and peace of mind. Already at home, she confessed to her husband that she had an affair, but she did not want to admit that the affair lasted more than 6 months. She told her husband that it had been no more than 5. When she went to work, Viola noticed that Gabriel paid no attention to her. Within a week, the young man had completely switched his attention to young Natalie, who had joined them at work just 2 weeks ago. Although Viola broke up with Gabriel, but her jealousy for him was burning her from the inside. Kevin, on the other hand, was paying all his attention to Eva. Diana was sad, though she was resentful of her mother. She still loved her. Irene had given her daughter a complete beating. "What have you done, Viola? Where else are you gonna find a man like that? Believe me, men like your Kevin are not to be missed. To trade a man like that for a punk, how could you think of such a thing?" Viola was silent. She had nothing to say. She was completely preoccupied with the thoughts of what she had done and the anxiety for the future. At the trial, Viola refused to divorce. The court ordered Diana to live with her mother. Although the court determined the place of residence of the child, Diana remained with her father. The now ex-husband did not prevent the daughter from seeing her mother. Viola moved in with her mother, taking only her personal belongings and gifts. She quit her job and took a job in a small firm with an all-female staff.